Well, we're talking to the Treasury Minister Eddie Teare, and while I've got you, I thought it was a good chance to pick up on the film industry. And we were talking obviously before the event, and were you going to get through easy, whatever, and it pretty well did sail through, I'd say. I mean, obviously there were a few dissenters. Were you surprised in the end how it went?
No, I was encouraged by the way it went, because I did acknowledge that it was a big ask of Tynwald members, because it wasn't a standard proposal. It was highly unusual, but it was a proposal in two parts. The first was who actually manages the Media Development Fund, which is our film investment fund, when the contract expires on the 12th of August this year. So how do we go forward from there? And then secondly, how do we reposition the film industry to reflect the changing circumstances in the UK and the Republic of Ireland, where they give direct cash subsidies to media productions? Take
us through the timeline now then, because obviously we're coming to the end, as you said, of the setup as we got it. Will this now seamlessly move on and we move into, the Isle of Man moves into the studios the next day sort of thing, or was it more complicated than that?
There's a bit more work to be done yet, as you'd imagine. The Tynwald motion was to get agreement in principle. I've got agreement in principle, so I've got the ability to continue the negotiations, and the Treasury thinks it's right to close the deal. I'm still talking to Pinewood and to other interested parties as well. We hope to have the agreement completed within the next 4 weeks. So it's a very tight schedule, tight timescale, but I feel that with goodwill on both sides it can be done.
But I mean, with Tynwald passing it, that's surely it. I mean, you know, you just hand over the cash now and we're in the film business.
No, it's a good expression, handing over the cash, isn't it? But it's, with respect, it's not right. The Media Development Fund is, in effect, it's parcelled, it's labelled for film development, but it's not spent on day one. So what happens is we put it in a little ring-fence box and say that's to support the media development, and then when Pinewood come to us with a specific film that they think is suitable for us, it will be analysed by the Treasury team, and the Treasury team will make the decision as to whether the investment is actually made. So the advisors give us advice, the decision is taken by Treasury. At that point, as the film develops, the funds are drawn down against that film. So we're certainly not going to write them a cheque for 25 million on day one. That's totally out of the question.
When I talked to the Chief Minister, I said high risk, he said risk, and it got referred to in Tynwald about the whole debate. How do you view it?
Life does contain a risk from the very moment we draw.
I'm looking for on the scale here.
Right, on the scale, from my own background, my former life, I have a look at what's the downside. How do you manage that risk? Whether you buy shares in British Petroleum, if you had bought shares in British Petroleum, say for example, 2 years ago, you'd have thought a solid base, that share price is unlikely to go down. Then they had the Deepwater accident and the share tanked 35%. And it's still well below its pre-disaster price.
Okay, out of 10, 10 being the highest risk, where is this investment likely to be?
I would say it's in the middle, towards the middle.
Higher middle?
No.
You're a number here.
No, 5-ish would be fine with me.
That's a fairly middle risk. I mean, well, it is 5's middle. I mean, that doesn't seem like a risk possibly to a lot of people, because, you know, everything, life's got risks, as you've said already, but no, it's got to be a bit more than that, surely.
No, I would be misleading with people if I said there was no risk, but I think that the risk is acceptable, it's in the middle of the range, and I feel comfortable with the risk.